mystery nerds and historians. My name is Krystina, and this is Effed Up Mythology, Zodiac Edition. This is where we talk about a little tidbit from mythology, specifically those associated with the Zodiac, that is probably going to be super fucked up, because what myths aren't, am I right? Today we'll be talking about the Aries sign of the Zodiac. This is technically the first constellation in the Zodiac calendar, but it encompasses the birth dates of March 21st to April 19th. So I'm getting a little bit closer to where we are, but not quite where it should be just yet. The Aries Zodiac is the ram with large curving horns. So if you're an Aries, you're said to be bold and ambitious and known for driving headfirst into situations. Cool. But let's get to what we're here for, the mythology. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and practice your oh good god, what the fuck phases. Because this one's a doozy for sure. So according to the constellation myths by Eratosthenes and Hyginus, the ram that is associated with the Aries constellation is the ram that carried Phrixus and Helle. This is actually a little bit longer story than the last one we did, which is awesome, because when it's like a 3-minute story, it's basically a TikTok, which just seems so silly to even publish. So I have to go back a bit, kind of. So there was this guy named Ixion, who I'm not going to talk about a super lot because he's kind of a side character. But anyway, Ixion the Lapith is what he was known as, agreed to marry a woman named Dia, who is a daughter of Aeneas. So he said that he was going to give all of these bridal gifts to Aeneas, but instead built this giant pit and filled it with fire. And I guess Aeneas didn't see it and just kind of like fell in and died. Now, in Greek culture, if you murdered someone, you were supposed to be purified of it. So if you go back to the Medea episode from like 2 years ago, that's all of a sudden for some reason has gotten very popular recently. After Medea kills her brother, spoiler, they go to Circe to be purified, and it goes through the whole process of that. It's largely because there are these lesser gods called the Furies who will fuck up your shit. But Zeus was like, nah, man, I get it, Ixion. I also do crazy things when I'm in love. I should just do like a whole series of the crazy things that Zeus does when he's quote unquote in love. Not to worry, man. I'll purify you, and I'll even invite you over for dinner. So Ixion goes over for dinner, takes one look at Zeus's wife Hera, and is like, new target acquired, and plans on seducing her, and figured that since Zeus is always cheating on Hera with mortal lovers, then Hera would probably want to do the same, and he felt like he was just the perfect candidate for that. But Zeus somehow figured it out that that was the intention, and so he took a cloud, stay with me, took a cloud and made it resemble Hera, and in Ixion's drunken state, he fucked the cloud. And Zeus was like, fooled you. Now, now I'm going to have Hermes whip you and torture you until you begin repeating, quote, benefactors deserve honor. And then we're going to tie you to a fiery wheel that rolls ceaselessly throughout the sky forever. So this cloud, who was named Nephele, got pregnant from this encounter. Don't ask any questions. And she gave birth to Centaurus, who was the ancestor of all the centaurs. Later, Hera demanded that she married Athamas of Boeotia, who was Sisyphus's brother, and together they had 3 children, their sons Phrixus and Lucan, and their daughter Helle. Now, apparently Nephele wasn't like head over heels for Athamas, maybe because she was a cloud, I don't know. So Athamas fell in love with Ino. So Athamas took Ino to this like secret fuck hut by a mountain and had 2 children with her, Laertius and Melicertes. Nephele found out about this and was not happy that she had been slighted by Athamas, so she took her cloud self to Mount Olympus, because she's a cloud, she just float up to wherever she needs to be, and told off her doppelganger and told her all about it, and Hera vowed eternal vengeance on Athamas and his house. So Nephele went back down and confronted Athamas and Ino and told everyone in Boeotia that Hera was going to kill the shit out of Athamas. But the problem was, the men in Boeotia were scared of Athamas way more than they feared Hera, and all the women in Boeotia were devoted to Ino. Now, so devoted that they helped her come up with this scheme that she was planning, right? So Ino told all the women to ruin the crops without their husband's knowledge. And then when Athamas noticed during growing season that nothing was sprouting, he would send someone to the Oracle of Delphi, and the messengers were bribed to then come back and say that the oracle said that the land would stay dead and nothing would grow unless Athamas and Nephele's son Phrixus was sacrificed to Zeus. But before she could do that, someone else wanted to kill Phrixus. So Phrixus was this like really, really hot and attractive young man. He was so attractive that even his aunt had a big old crush on him. His aunt, whatever. So then she tries to like make a move on Phrixus and he rejected her. Probably because she was his aunt. And then she went around and told everyone that he had sexually assaulted her, and the men of Boeotia demanded that he be killed, specifically as a sin offering to Apollo. So like either way, whichever plan worked out, Phrixus is set to be sacrificed. And for some reason, Athamas was the one who had to do it. And so he's leading Phrixus up to this mountaintop, and just as he was about to slit his throat, Heracles jumps in. Heracles, our man, who just like happened to be in the area, and he was like, my father, Zeus, maybe you've heard of him, doesn't like human sacrifices and you need to stop immediately. And they ignored him. And we're going to carry on with it anyway, when a winged ram with golden fleece sent by Hera flies down onto the mountaintop. The ram then screamed at Phrixus. Don't ask any questions. The ram screamed at Phrixus to jump on. And so Phrixus climbs onto his back, and Helle is like, oh no, take me too. Helle is his sister. And Phrixus pulled her on, and they fly away. And Helle was so giddy, she actually lost her hold and plummeted into the straits between Europe and Asia, and that became known as the Hellespont. And Phrixus and the Golden Ram ended up in Colchis. And many, many years later, a man named Jason came with his Argonauts and searched for this golden fleece that belonged to this ram, and was aided by Medea. So that is the story of the ram constellation Aries. If you want to know what happened to the Golden Fleece and Medea, and you haven't listened to it already, I do have a whole big long episode on Medea, which is honestly like one of my favorite myths, as terrible as it is. But a quick wrap up of what happened with Athamas and Nephele, which is where the story gets even crazier. I honestly think this is the most absurd myth I've ever done. So after the ram rescues Phrixus and Helle, the messengers that were working for Ino confessed that they had been put up to lying to the father. And it also came out that Phrixus actually did not sexually assault his aunt. And then Nephele was like, well, since we all came up here to sacrifice someone for their sins, Athamas is a pretty shitty guy and we could sacrifice him. And Heracles was like, still, no. My dad does not like that. And then Hera made Athamas go insane, partially for Nephele, but also because apparently he knew that Ino was hiding Zeus's bastard son Dionysus. So apparently in this haze of insanity, he killed his and Ino's first son Laertius and started coming after Ino, who had escaped with her other son after that. But baby Dionysus, newborn baby for the most part, somehow blinds Athamas. And then Ino ran to Malurian Rock and leaped into the sea and drowned with her baby. And Zeus then turned her into a goddess who later saved Odysseus from drowning after he left Calypso's island. So she's always had bad taste, if you ask me. Athamas was then banished from Boeotia and went to the Oracle of Delphi to ask where he should go from there. And she told him, quote, wherever wild beasts entertain you for dinner. And he wandered and wandered and wandered until he saw wolves eating a flock of sheep. The wolves fled when he approached, and he ate the rest of the sheep that they left behind and founded a new city of Athemania and married Themisto and had a new family. So there's that, I guess. That is all for today. There you go. So if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please consider subscribing or leaving a review or joining my Patreon. And remember, friends, history may be watching you, so don't fuck it up and don't fuck clouds, I guess. Okay, bye!